I hate when people say this, but this might take time. And I'm curious, what about you doesn't want to be patient towards it, towards this
Because I
problem?
just want to be able to feel things because it feels so much better than being numb.
Yeah,
Like I
tell me
feel
more.
really desperate now to feel stuff.
This is Quest of Life. We are a not for profit offering free online peer support groups, and this is a demonstration of a facilitated group. So keep in mind that your experience might not look and or feel the same as this streaming group. Not every group can be the same, as every facilitator is different, and so are the group dynamics. That said, if you'd like to join a support group, you can join us through questoflife.org. And if you want to support us monetarily so we can run more free groups for more people, please also do that via our website, questoflife.org.
Cool. What's going on, everybody? How are you guys?
Do you want to pick someone to start?
That sounded so smooth. We'll do Anne. How's it going?
Yes. I'm anxious. Yeah. Yep. That's just overwhelming anxiety. Part of it from earlier, I facilitated a new group. And part of it is I don't know what's gonna happen today. And I'm like trying to look at my list. And I just feel like it's like one of those days where I just don't like whatever I wrote down. I don't think anything is good. Yeah.
Good for you or good for us? Or like
Good
stream?
period. Yeah.
May I say a one-liner that I just thought of?
Yep.
Anxiety.
Wow.
If you need a username change, I got you.
I will sleep on that. Okay. And then check in. Is that what we're doing? Yes. What went well this week? I don't recall. It felt like it was okay until earlier, and then I got very nervous. Things are going well. Is anything not well? Is the anxiety. But also that's no, that feels normal. Like when there's nothing going on, I feel very anxious. And topic for today. Maybe that's the topic. I don't even know how to. That's the I'll pass to Pan.
You're muted.
Thanks. My week has been, I would say, a mix of like being busy and trying to take time to relax. so that's a fun mix because then I feel stressed out and then I try to relax and that stresses me out. So yeah, that's fun. But in general, I would say it's been moving forward. I have been to some meetings or like job interviews, and I have been at the same time also writing out and sending out job applications. So I feel like I had a productive week last week. And that has also been going good or like been great because I have had a long down period where I sent out a lot of applications, but because of summer break, I didn't hear back from anyone. So it's nice to get some feedback now where the summer break is over. I would say I'm feeling a little bit wary, but I think that's just because I guess I just need time to land as I have been quite forgetful today. So that's just a part of that. Elsewise, I'm fine and looking forward to this session. Sending it to Tom.
My week's been quite productive, so I've been trying to work through. I have a backlog of random tasks from the past year, probably, that I've been putting off, and I'm trying to get through all of that before starting uni. And so it's been like productive, but also I've used up a lot of willpower this week. So very draining at the same time. It's like all the things I really didn't want to do. But yeah, making progress. The other thing is that the last few days I've been feeling more emotions than usual, which is both nice but also weird and confusing and uncomfortable. And also relates to my topic, which feels like a trap, but I'll say it anyway. But because like the topic is, I feel like not being allowed to feel emotions is at the core of most of my problems. That's what it always comes back to. And now I also realize that I'm really scared that if I actually, well, okay, I've brought it up many times in many different groups and in one-on-one coaching, and I always get stuck in the same loop, or like there's always a kind of like stopping point that I can never get past. And this morning I realized why, I think. It's because I'm scared that whatever the actual root of the problem is going to feel like it's not big enough to justify why I'm so stuck. So then if we talk about it, what if we find out that like, oh, actually it's no big deal, which I realize is exactly the thing I was taught growing up. And that's also what makes it so scary. So now I feel really anxious because I've been feeling more things the last few days, and so it feels like if we talk about this, I might actually feel stuff, and that's scary.
When things aren't a big deal, is that like if it literally isn't a big deal, like I don't know, you're like worried that your McDonald's order is going to get messed up and it's like ruining your day. Is it like, do you feel a sharp shame response to that?
Yes.
Or like, would, okay, okay.
It's like, what if I'm bad for being stuck because I don't have a good enough reason?
Mm. Pam, did you have a topic? I don't remember.
I forgot to mention a topic. Hmm. I had one. I forgot it. It's something about setting goals and following them, because I do have goals and I set them, but I don't follow. But I guess it's also like still attached to procrastination. So I'm not sure. I can call it procrastination part 2.
Sure.
Yeah.
Last week at the end, I remember I felt like there was a lot more to talk about, and so I also feel like I would really like to give you more space, Pam, if you want it.
Thank you. I would like to take that space another time, but I really appreciate you telling me I have the choice to. So for me, I think both your topic and Anne's topic is interesting. And I hear that both topics involves a lot of emotions, so I'm intrigued.
Way to turn the pressure up.
Sorry. Like in the degree that you guys, of course, comfortable with.
Yeah. I feel like, Tom, your topic has more shape than mine. Mine's just very vague to me. Yeah. As in, I feel like if we talk about my anxiety, it might not just go anywhere.
I would quite like to talk
Well,
about mine, but I'd like to have the option to chicken out halfway.
Yes.
Hmm?
Is that the code word? Chicken?
I'll
chicken
forget.
halfway,
I'll
and
just.
then we'll go with.
I don't know. If you feel like I don't know. Maybe like check in with me if it seems like I don't want to be talking.
Mm.
And how do we know if you?
I don't know.
How do we know? Okay. What if we set a time
I'll
limit
do it.
and? Okay, he'll do it. Great.
I'll do it. Do you want to just go, Tom, or do you want me to like prime you?
If you have stuff to ask or say, go for it, because I feel like I've brought this up so many times in so many different ways and it never leads anywhere. I also feel kind of bad for like bringing up the same topic similar to what Pam shared last week about like being stuck in that loop, and it feels pointless because I don't see where it could lead. It
Can you
feels
tell me
like
about the pattern? Or tell us about the pattern? Like what tends to happen?
in those conversations.
I'm actually asking about how you treat the pattern yourself, but the conversations are probably like an extension of that.
Mm-hmm.
So either one's fine, actually.
Well, generally, I would start with either a problem like procrastination. We explore it, and then the problem is I'm avoiding some kind of emotions, but I don't really feel them. I'm not sure what they are, so then it turns into a conversation about emotions. And with that in my head, what I need to figure out is how can I actually allow myself to feel things and for that to be okay? And how can I allow myself to show what I'm feeling and for that to be okay? And whenever I try to do either of those things, especially when it's around other people, I feel like I've improved in the sense that I can share about more vulnerable stuff, but I still feel very numb and detached as I do it. So it's almost like I'm talking about another person.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I'm saying the words, but they don't mean anything, even though they're true.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I can't mean them to be able to say them.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm stuck in. And I've had coaches try to like help me feel more stuff either by asking questions or like we did almost like a guided meditation one time. But what happens is like, for example, if I try to sit with my feelings, I feel a little bit and it feels really muffled. And then part of me really wants to feel more. Like I actually feel a really strong urge to want to feel whatever it is, but it's not accessible. Like I don't know how to allow that to happen. Mm-hmm. And the harder I try, the more out of reach it feels.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I find it difficult to try to feel things. Feeling things seems to be a result, not something like it isn't an action necessarily. You can
Yeah.
do things that would evoke it, but yeah.
But also, when feelings would come up, that's where I have a whole bunch of defense mechanisms that activate, like the smiling, laughing, or I start moving around, or fidgeting, or like I'll start sipping water, or my brain will just start playing music in my head as a distraction, or I start intellectualizing. And if I catch any one of those and stop doing it, then another one pops up. So it's like playing whack a mole with myself.
So I could tie this with Anne's topic too, because they feel similar, which is Anne's was like baseline anxiety. Um, yeah, I have a couple thoughts so far. One thing I wrote was emotions are distressing. So the more you feel, the more stress you feel, which what actually would happen there is these emotions wouldn't become as important as the stress. Like the stress starts ramping, and now you're more stressed than the other stuff. Like I'm not sad anymore, I'm stressed.
Shame more than stress.
Yes, that was the other topic, which was shame versus anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And like, how do these two things feel, and how do they compound on each other? So like trying to separate these two. The last one I had written down was, how did people treat you struggling, or how do people treat you struggling? That was the third branch.
Third branch feels most useful, I think.
Cool.
Should I just answer that question, or
I'm going to think first.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to pick up when you are starting to feel the shame?
Sometimes. Now it's more
Okay.
like it feels more like anxiety or just generic discomfort, but that could also be shame, just like
I think my guess is it is. Like we can talk about anxiety versus shame if you want to. But so I see two things. The first is we can go back to like what happened to you. The second is we could try to like observe what happens when you like try to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So why I asked about are you able to like distinguish it is I could just check in like 10 minutes on how your shame levels are, or like how overwhelmed do you feel. That's probably a better question.
Okay.
And then we could try to explore what happens in the moment, or we could just like not do the in the moment stuff and just focus on the past.
Both?
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of fear as
so
well, not just shame.
yes. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, so can you tell me about the how people treated you having problems or like struggling with stuff as a kid or even to this day?
Mm-hmm. So as a kid, usually it just didn't matter. Like, I feel anxious, well, I have to go talk to someone anyway. Like, it's not a consideration at all. And so, like, whenever I think back to anything from my childhood, like, the most common experience is I feel really anxious and I have to do something. And it was so normal that I didn't even question it. Like, that's how life works. And that also generalized to other things. So if I'm feeling anything that's uncomfortable, that's something for me to figure out within. Because if I share it with other people, they're not going to help. They will just tell me not to feel that way. And now, especially since Quest of Life, it's different. Like, people are actually interested in what my experience is, and they relate and they validate. Sometimes they appreciate that I can show what I'm feeling, and I don't know how to accept any of those things.
Do you know what is in the way of you accepting it?
Could be a few things. So, it could be that they feel more than I do, and then I feel like I should be able to keep up, or it's weird when someone feels sad for me and I don't feel sad myself. I feel like I'm doing something wrong there, or like I'm making them sad when there isn't, I don't have a problem to begin with. Um, it could also be that if I were to accept care, that feels really unsafe somehow. Because I had. Okay, that's making sense. Growing up, I had situations where my parents, or especially my mom, would like offer care. So if she sees that I'm upset, she would try to talk to me first. And then during that conversation, there would come a point where it's like, okay, time to move on or time to feel better. She wouldn't say it, but I felt like a distinct shift where it went from like, it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling to like, okay, it's too much now, time to be okay. So it feels like a trap. And then I think there's a third part where if I let myself believe that someone actually cares, that also means that it's really sad that no one ever cared before. And I'm scared to feel that. And it also feels like it's very all or nothing. Like, whatever feelings would come up would be so much that it's too much, so I have to, like, shut them off completely. So if someone's too kind, that makes me feel too much. And then I have to reject it.
So
Good
feeling.
reasons.
Oh, yes. Please.
Well, that sounds like a lot of good reasons not to accept care.
Yeah. I'm also scared that it wouldn't feel like enough and I would just want more and more and more and then use up my quota and then people leave. So it's easier to not want it in the first place.
Mentioned the quota a few times in the last few sessions.
Yeah, I feel like there's a very tight limit on how much support I get.
What are the consequences when you're yourself? I'm more interested in like the hypotheticals. Like, how do you feel, or what do you feel would happen if you truly were yourself?
I don't know what that looks like.
Not caring about the quota.
Okay, okay. If I didn't care about the quota, would I still feel the shame?
I'm unsure what that. I don't know how to interact with that question.
I mean, like in the hypothetical scenario, am I still feeling the shame? So is it still hard to ask for help?
No, no, actually.
Okay.
Think of like a really. I imagine this is how like that part of you sees you, but like a really needy person. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
they need a lot of help, and they're like unfeathered. I think that's the word. But they're just like uninhibited, and they just ask for a bunch of help. How do you feel about that type of person?
I think I feel fine about that if it's someone else because I'm the person that provides the help. So it's okay for other
Interesting.
people to have needs.
There's no like jealousy, envy, resentment, anything like that.
I don't think so.
Interesting. Is there
Jealousy would make
sadness?
sense, but yeah, sadness if anything.
Mm. Hmm.
But yeah, the consequences would be that I would just want to. I would want someone to fight for the parts of me that I hate or like I reject.
Can you tell us about those parts?
Yeah, it's having
I
feelings.
imagine shame just spiked, by the way.
Um, I don't know. I
Okay.
feel less anxious than before actually, but I don't know if that means like the numbing's working or it feels safe.
Okay. I'll check in a minute then, or a while. You mentioned parts that you reject, and I asked,
Yeah,
can you tell us more about the parts?
it's basically me having feelings. And then that's where the shame spikes. And the second part of that sentence would be which are like not proportional to what actually happened.
So I want to dig, but I also want Anne or Pam, if you have questions or thoughts, I want to give you space too.
Pam, you had a thing earlier. Do you remember what you wanted to say?
Um, mm, not anymore. Um, no, I'm at the moment just listening and hearing what Tom has to say. I can say that I resonate a lot, and I'm not sure if I'm empathizing, but I do resonate with some of the things you're saying. Um, so at the moment, I have no question.
Yeah, I want to hear Jake's digging.
I actually have something first. Do you want to like figure something out, Tom, or do you want to feel like accepted first?
Um, Depends on which part gets to make the choice.
Well said. So I'll just toss the directions. I could like keep digging, or I could toss it to the group about how we all, I don't know if you want my experience as well, but how the other members relate to this experience of like you kind of having to take care of people because your emotions are too much for them.
Can you pick?
Can I pick?
May I ask why you won't pick yourself?
Um, because I don't know whether I should trust the part of me that's trying to keep me safe or the needy part.
How about going into that?
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on.
Hmm?
Hold on. That felt, I don't know. Tom just been like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know, something about that was off-putting.
If I don't make the choice, then if it's the wrong choice, then it's not on me.
Yeah, so when you start talking about some of the deeper stuff, a separate problem is spawning. And you like this is the like, oh no, I'm wrong.
I think I'm avoiding the
So I
shame.
think
So if we were to talk about feelings that I think are too much, if I were to say I want to talk about this, I want to spend time on this, then if it ends up if any of you ended up feeling like it's too much or I'm wasting our time, then it's my fault for asking for that. If you ask to hear about it, then I don't have to feel ashamed as much.
yeah, I'm interested in all this. Like I'm interested in like hearing everyone's experience with this thing because I think it's a very real thing. Um that doesn't like get talked about much. I'm interested in your personal experience of it. I'm also interested in this like shame stuff and like what is getting triggered when you're like trying to talk about it. So, I'm interested.
Thing.
So I think it would still help if one of you can make the choice because I'm interested in all of them for different reasons. But then, if I make the choice, I will feel more shame as we talk, which will make it harder to feel anything.
Yeah.
If I don't make the choice, like at least that part will be quieter.
Hmm. So, I will say my preference and then I'll hand it to Anne and then Pam. Like what are y'all's preference? Um I would like to explore the shame that is like starting to activate.
Mm. My preference is feel like if I were you, I would try the being needy and see what that's like. Pam?
Hmm. I would say that I value um I don't know the word. It's like I don't feel comfortable with making choices for other people.
Hmm,
So to
yeah.
me, if so to me, like I would not take on that responsibility on me. But if it's because it will help you and I understand how it will help you, I am willing to help. But as it is in the context of now, I am unsure if it is helpful or uh, me experiencing responsibility that you are not willing to take yourself. And therefore, I would like to dig into shame.
Cool.
Okay, shame it is.
So radical. Uh, yeah. So tell me about just tell me about the pressure you feel. Tell me about the shame. Tell me about this like part of you who's like critiquing yourself a lot.
It's literally that I just want to feel more and it's not allowed. So when you give
Yeah.
that to me as an option, it feels like if I say yes to that, I'm setting a trap for myself.
Yeah. Uh, so I want to check something real quick. So I'm noticing I'm in dig mode, which I tend to interrupt a bit or a lot when I'm in dig mode. So I will try to not interrupt unless you want me to interrupt you.
Yes, interrupts,
Do you want?
especially if I'm
Okay.
intellectualizing.
I tend to interrupt once I have the data.
Okay.
So if I'm like, cool, I have the data. All right, you can stop talking.
Okay. Yes, please do.
It's kind of like it's semi rude. That's why I don't do it often. But yeah, what where was I going? Um, yeah, I'm not allowed. Yeah, tell me about how you learned to not be allowed to do things. How did that part develop? How did you learn to protect people from you?
Well, one example is the story I shared about phone calls a few weeks back, where like my mom thought I was selfish because I wouldn't make a phone call for her when I was really scared to do it, and she was
Selfish.
scared for other reasons. Like she didn't speak the language that well, and she thought it would be easy for me because I was fluent.
Yeah.
Um, and then there are more stories like that. Like I got bullied at school, and then my parents basically told me to, or like my mom told me to just act like I'm not noticing, and so I had like kids throw stuff at my head for weeks, and I just sat there trying to pretend like I didn't notice, because that's what they told me to do. And then eventually a teacher, or like eventually I ended up crying in class, because not because like it hurt, but I was just overwhelmed with just being targeted every single day. And then so my teacher actually resolved it, but she kind of took me outside to talk and like find out what happened. And I told her, and then she went back to the class. I don't know what she did, but it did stop after that. She came back out. I was still crying, and she was just like, "Okay, pull yourself together," and back to class. So it's that thing of like time to stop feeling things again. Or like there was another
Yeah.
time when I was yeah.
No, please. I
Okay.
went. Yeah.
There was another time when I was a kid, maybe like 8, 9, and I used to get really bad coughs that would last weeks, and then I often couldn't sleep until very late into the night because I was just coughing so bad. And I remember one time I was just like very sleep deprived, very, and like my ribs were so sore from just literally like the coughing. And I was starting to feel really overwhelmed, and my mom was there, and I remember she could see that I was about to start crying because like I was just like it was too much, and there I think she also just said something like, what was it? I think she said don't be hysterical when I wasn't even crying yet. And so I just remember like how much willpower it took to control that and stop. That kind of stuff.
Hmm. One word I wrote down was betrayal. Uh, it feels like there's a lot of it's interesting because it sounds like there's neglect in here, but it's also like they intervene at the worst times. It's like you're kind of like taking care of yourself, and then like when you need help, it's like completely dismissed.
Yes. And actually, when I didn't need help, my parents were great. Like, I got so much love
Interesting.
and affection and validation, and so. But in the moments where I really struggled and needed help, that's where it fell apart.
How did that feel for you to like notice this pattern
Now, or when it
more
happened?
than like yeah when you were younger?
I wasn't aware of it until coaching, so like the last 2 years.
Okay.
I think I felt like that's how things work. Like, if yeah, I felt like the problem is that I'm feeling too much. That's why people react in that way. So it's not
Mm,
that like they're not doing their job, but I shouldn't be feeling as much in the first place.
mm. And just to clarify, so you've been working on this stuff for about 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will say I'm assuming there's like 20 years or so of traumatic things. I'm not saying trauma, but they're definitely traumatic. And I think 2 years might not be enough of a healing time frame. Uh, so I think I hate when people say this, but this might take time. And I'm curious, what about you doesn't want to be patient towards it, towards this
Because I
problem?
just want to be able to feel things because it feels so much better than being numb.
Yeah,
Like, I
tell me
feel
more.
really desperate now to feel stuff.
Yeah,
The worst part is literally when I feel that there's something there. Sometimes I even know what it is, but it's like behind a barrier. It's like if you have an itch and you can kind of scratch it and it feels a little bit better, but it's not enough. Or like if you want to like crack your back and then no matter how much you twist, it's not gonna do it. And that's really uncomfortable.
yeah.
And I know I would feel so much better if I could just feel my emotions.
I'm
Your
curious if
mom. She needs a
yes.
stern talking from me. Okay, Jake.
Need to get Anne on a call with your mom. Um, I'm curious if the part of you that is how do I word that? like if I could just feel my emotions, things would be better. Is that the same part that is like protecting you from feeling stuff? Because it seems very impatient and like very kind of inconsiderate.
That's a good question. No, it's the opposite.
Ooh. Tell me more. I want to know how the
Okay.
parts interact with each other.
Okay. So the part that doesn't want me to feel anything, that comes from a place of shame. That's like, it's not safe
Hmm.
to feel, and it's especially unsafe to show people what I'm feeling. Um, but then having that part be in control is what feels really bad. So there's something else that doesn't want that part in control.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the
Tell me
needed
about
part.
the. Mm. Mm-hmm. I.
Like, the
Uh,
needed part is I just want to be able to feel whatever and, like, stop shutting me down.
hmm.
But then, I don't know if that's the same as I would feel so much better if I could just feel my emotions. Maybe there's a third component.
Who knows? Quick check-in. How are you feeling? How's the shame? How's the overwhelm?
Definitely not gone, but I'm less numb than before.
Nice.
But there's
Cool.
definitely some controlling going on.
Yeah. I'm actually going to toss it to the rest of the group and see if y'all have thoughts, questions, reflections, empathy.
Yeah, your mom.
Ugh.
So my hearing that, I'm imagining she just couldn't handle any feelings. And so she could control you by telling you to shut it off, and you would. And so it becomes like your responsibility. But it really was her responsibility to help you when you needed her.
Also, she didn't even see the worst of it. Like, she would literally, especially at the time when I was sick,
Yeah,
I wasn't even crying.
yeah,
It was just like, don't even think about it.
yeah. And like from the story at school, it sounds like, I don't know who this reminds me of, but it's very familiar in maybe like my parents as well, where they grew up in a way where somehow they came to the conclusion that there was nothing they could do. So they learned to accept it or ignore it. And so that's what they taught you instead of doing something about it, helping you. Yeah. It makes sense how, like, you've had lots of lessons that, yeah, your feelings are not welcomed. If anything, you should ignore it or move on, forget about it.
I have a lot of shame spiking now because you're taking this seriously.
Hmm.
Like, my mind's comparing, because if I think about the things I know that you went through, I feel like, well, this is nothing in comparison. So how can you think that this is valid? That's like the quota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's part of that. Instead of, yeah, you're like, but my feelings compared to yours, I know it's not important. It's not serious. So yeah, another reason you can use to not feel like it's important.
Yeah, it's really hard to believe.
I'm curious how this will land. It's okay for you to not believe it.
But then what am I supposed to do?
I was gonna say something similar. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter if you believe it. It's just what I have to share. It's how I feel.
I feel like what I need to learn is learn to believe people when they actually care. Because otherwise I'm keeping myself isolated. Like, even when people are there, I still feel alone.
But historically, people haven't cared for you right. So there's good reasons not to trust.
Yeah.
I'll talk about some things, but first I want to check in with Pam.
Mm, I would say that hearing your story and hearing your anecdotes, that makes a lot of sense to me why it would be hard for you to show emotions or feel uh feel some kind of shame in those situations, because what I'm hearing is that when you try to share or like just show your emotions, the circumstances around you kind of either told you not to show them or cut off the like connection with you when emotions was shown. So it makes a lot of sense that it would be hard to do the opposite now when you have been taught that that was what worked in the past and that was what you were taught to do in those situations, and you have never like you were never taught anything else. You had to find it yourself, figure it out, or just try and hope it will work out, and that is exhausting.
And this is the loop I'm stuck in. So it makes sense to me too, but I don't know. Like, it feels like this is where I always end up with, like, yep, it's valid and makes sense. But I feel powerless to actually change anything because it's so terrifying.
Do you have any thoughts about how to break it? And it is okay no matter if there are any or not. Yes.
Well, I thought about whether I need to, like, put myself in a situation where I will just feel so much I can't control it, and then I need someone to be there and actually be supportive and not shut it down. But I don't know whether that would actually feel helpful in practice, or just like it could still feel unsafe anyway and just make it worse. Another thing I thought about is like, is there a way to. I wonder if I'm trying to talk about problems that are kind of like too big to tackle and to be able to feel. So, like, should I complain about having a really disappointing breakfast and then accept empathy there?
I would say I resonate with the first part. The first part being having the, I would describe it as the need to be able to break down in front of people and then let them carry me, or like let them be there without any solution. And I would say in my experience, it is, and now it's going to become a little tricky because it's really nuanced in the way that depending on the situation and all the circumstances, and it's not to scare you, but it can go either way. Like it's realistically like we can't control what how we would be received, but but I have learned that I can control if I choose to share or not, and be aware of that. Like it's definitely a learning process of learning to, so you can if I want to show this vulnerable part with some people, and if I decide to share this with them, am I able to handle if they do not care, like if they do not catch me? um and then I will start to look for tools in how I can recover myself if they do not, because I also feel that there is some kind of release, or like some kind of empowering in having that choice, um, to be able to open up on my terms, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense and feels very relatable. There's only one difference where I don't feel like it's a choice. Like, I don't feel like I can make the choice
Makes sense.
to let myself feel something like that. I would have to ask someone to make me feel something, and so I would have to ask them to basically violate my boundaries, which I don't think is a good thing to do. And that's
I was
unsafe in
wondering,
itself. Like,
your examples of how to break this is one, either go all in, so all the emotions and the other person will have to be safe, or talking about breakfast. It feels like we were just doing the middle part where it is something important and we were empathizing, and it seemed like how did that go for you?
that's where, like, logically I believe you, but I don't know how to actually let it land. And so it actually makes me feel more distant than before you shared.
That's fair.
And that's the part that I really hate, because when people are there, it actually makes me want to pull away more.
Mhm. So how would the breakfast or everything scenario be different?
So I think there's a good chance the everything scenario sounds like it could be helpful in my head, but in practice it would be the same and quite harmful. The breakfast scenario, I wonder, is like, because that doesn't feel like a big deal, and whatever emotions I feel there are actually tiny, that's where it wouldn't feel like I'm showing too much. So there, someone is like, yeah, it sucks that you burned your eggs. I can believe that.
Mm.
If you're angry with my mom, like, it makes sense, and it also doesn't. I also feel like I should defend her.
What makes you want to defend her?
That's a whole nother thing where growing up, we sort of like pretended to be the perfect family, or like everything was great. So, like, if I didn't have. My parents acted as if I had straight A's all the time when I really didn't. And so, even if I made a mistake, they'd find some way to reframe it as like success. Like, we couldn't acknowledge that something wasn't great. And in that same vein, I remember they didn't explicitly ask for it, but I remember I would often tell them that, like, especially with my mom, but I would often say that, like, they're the best parents in the world, and I distinctly remember some situations where it felt like I had to say it, even though they weren't actually asking for it. But, like, I have to make sure that my mom feels like she's a great mom.
Yeah, homie, there's some parentification in here. There's just weird stuff. I feel really uncomfortable. Like relationships like that make me they're really intrusive. And especially if like you have a child and your child is reassuring you, that feels really gross. And I know you also said like yeah, like they were loving, but the parts where they weren't loving sound like predatory, maybe? I'm not sure the right word. It just didn't sound good. They were good, but then there's like the basement, and you don't go to the basement.
Yeah, I'm confused because it didn't feel like that. Like, I felt loved without question
Yeah,
as a kid.
yeah, I don't doubt that.
Mhm.
Yeah, you
And
can feel loved and neglected.
mm,
You can feel loved and silenced,
I also don't think I
loved and not
ever
safe.
lied about the stuff. So, like, when I would say those things, I genuinely meant them. But it's also weird that I felt like I had to say them.
Yeah.
Like, there were specific times when I knew, like, this is when I need to say it.
And I feel you have a lot that you're feeling. I want to give you the floor.
My feelings. Yeah, there's a lot of yeah, I'm hearing you like having to reassure your parents because they needed to feel like we are the perfect family and you're great, straight A's, and they're great. And you have to reassure them that yes, that is correct. I think I feel a lot because I relate to it.
Do you want to share?
I don't know how much I relate in just the feeling that Oh, my brain really doesn't want to go there. Thinking about it and it's gone. It's poof. Ran away from me. I had a thought that it took me a very long time to realize that my parents are people. And this reminds me of that. Yeah. Also, I think because I've heard a lot of other people also share, it's usually when we talk about being neglected as a child, the first feelings is always no, my parents loved me and I need to defend them. And no, they're not that bad. I'm just talking about the bad stuff, but they were good other times that I didn't say. Yeah. Yeah, and I felt that too. Like how horrible, like I'm telling you how abusive my dad is, but I couldn't say that like 3 years ago. I defended him for a very long time. That's all I've got.
Yeah, I'm confused because I can see where you're coming from, and then my mind goes straight to, oh, but in my case it's different. It actually wasn't so bad.
Do you want to share that?
Well, it's like I'm scared that if you were there and actually saw what it was like, you'd be like, oh yeah, no, this is fine.
Interesting.
Like, what if I'm not making it up, but making it sound worse than it is? And this is something that comes with the shame a lot. Like, I'll share a story, and then people react to it like it's a big deal, and then instantly my reaction is like, oh, I must have told it wrong.
Yes, I relate to that. I'm curious what like Pam and Jake think about this. Because I don't have a solution for this. I know from my own experience that it takes time. It took me like 6 years to stop defending my dad, and it was very slow.
What do I think about that? Like the time frame, or what do you mean?
No, just about what Tom said.
Oh, the like defending them, but also if someone were to go back and they're like, "Yeah, this is fine," he would feel deeply uncomfortable. Yeah,
Oh no, I mean I think I meant something slightly different. So like I'm scared that if you saw what it was actually like, you would come to the conclusion that it was fine.
Like same
That
as
I
your
yeah.
am
Why
parents.
is
blowing
this?
things out of proportion. So actually you saying if you thought I'm blowing things out of proportion, that would kind of feel safe because it aligns with how I feel. It's more uncomfortable when you think it's a big deal, I guess.
Do you want it to be a big deal?
Yeah.
But you're not allowed for it to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no matter how I think about it, it doesn't feel like it's justified or like it's bad enough. Like I keep looking for something really bad that happened that would explain why I feel this stuck, and nothing I find feels good enough. Like I always have the sense of I wish I had something I could point to.
Yeah. Mm. Um, this is difficult. Um, I think it's really hard when bad things get normalized, and it's hard to uh like recenter, and it takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And like there are ways to recenter, but I like this quote I think I made up. I don't know. Let the data confuse you. Like there's a lot of data here that is really conflicting. Just like allow it to confuse you. Like what the hell's going on here? And
Mhm.
allow your confusion to kind of exist and like question it. So one thing you said was, did I tell the story wrong? Did you actually tell the story wrong? I don't
I
think you
don't
did.
know.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you tell? Like you can like further come to conclusions, or you can even ask that.
Yeah.
I don't think you told the story wrong, and you're probably going to say, yes, I did actually tell the story wrong.
Well, I'm
Okay,
telling
how
the
do these two data
story.
points?
I'm telling the story of
Yeah,
how it felt, not what happened.
good.
I don't
Your
know what the
emotions are the
story
important
is
thing.
of what happened.
Uh,
I
anyone have thoughts
wonder.
before I rant? Okay,
Yes, I
go, go
do.
for it.
I think I will have to share more a bit about like defending my dad, so that I connected with this. Um, because so the first time I shared something um with my with someone, this one specific instance with my dad that I just remembered one day, and it was very normal. It's like a list of my stories I'm telling. This person was horrified hearing about this. I felt like Tom right now, where I'm like, "What do you mean? No, that wasn't like that. It just I might." So then I was trying to like figure out how to retell the story in a fairer way, um, to like make sure they have enough information to have a more appropriate response. And then following that, the 6 years, I I don't remember if it was intentional, but I told that stories to other people, um, and I kept getting the same horrified expression. So then I figured that maybe these people belong to a group of people that have different values in mine than my family. So then I find people who are Vietnamese who are like me, grew up like me, and then I ask them, and then they also provide me with confusing data more aligned with what I think they should feel. And eventually, um, I think my conclusion is, what is my conclusion? I think I gave up on it. Um, I'm okay with this is how it happened. This is how I felt at the time, how I see it now, and then I know how different people feel about it. So to connect that with, yeah, with you, Tom, I wonder because you said that maybe if we went back there with you when you're at school or you were sick and your parents were there, we would side with your parents instead because probably seemed to you everybody in your life reacted that way, that it wasn't a big deal. And we're the only people who are saying the opposite. It doesn't make sense.
So that sounds like you just stopped caring what people think.
I stopped caring.
Or maybe you care about what you think more than what they think.
I think I just asked enough people that I could predict if I asked more people, I would get what kind of response. So, yeah, I'm not looking anymore.
It just made me think. I think there's something more broad here as well, where whenever I need to make a big decision, I need to know, like, I need to get data from other people, and I need to know what all the different opinions are and probabilities before I can decide what I think, or maybe what I should think, or like I'm looking for the right answer. And that answer depends on other people.
You're muted, Pam.
I was saying that I would like to ask you, Tom, how are you feeling right now? Or what are you feeling?
I feel weirdly calm, maybe a little bit nervous.
Wonder where the shame went.
I feel like we're back in like safe, more intellectual territory, maybe. I'm thinking more than feeling.
Do you know how you react to fear?
If I'm aware of it, I try to power through it. If I'm not aware of it, then I will rationalize whatever it wants, and I think it's logic.
Mhm. Okay. I think I'm gonna try to share one of my patterns, and I will share because maybe you resonate, or if you don't, it's also fine. Um, it's because earlier you were talking about um feeling scared of it was it was like feeling the emotions and experiencing them disappear when you experience the emotions. That was one part of the pattern. And what I would like to share is sometimes when I uh, am seeking connection and I'm afraid of the connection, all the defenses like just pop up and play out, and I can't access my core goal, which is to connect with people, but it's still there. So I try to connect with people through my defenses, and it does not work. Um, and I want to share this because I think you're aware of it, and at the same time not aware of it. But I'm experiencing right now, even though we are trying to understand, talking through, it's as something is still keeping you from showing emotions. And it's like we can ask, we can talk, we can discover, we can ask questions as much as we would like to. But in the end, it is also your choice to trust that we will be here with you. How does that feel like hearing?
I think that, yeah, you're spot on. And that's the crux of the problem, where, like, I don't know how to make that choice.
Yeah.
Even though I really want to. Like, I can tell myself that I choose to trust that it would be okay to show emotions, and then I try, and then it doesn't happen.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. I will have to think about your answer because I also, in my experience, it is what from what I understand, it is really hard to do something if you've never tried it before. So it's like I know what to do, but at the same time I don't know what to do, but I know I should do it. Like that's the I want to do something I've never taught before, so someone teach me. Um, and that's why I will go in a thinking box and see if it's something I can ask questions to know, like somehow see if I see or resonate. Like I need to like ponder around it and see how it's lands with me as well. And
It kind of feels like if we went to go, like, cliff diving or something and climb up a really tall cliff, and then everyone's jumping and having fun, and I'm like, I know how to jump off a rock, so, like, it's not the motion that's the problem necessarily, but then if I'm there and looking down, it's like, I want to, it looks fun, I know it's safe, but I can't. And I'm just stuck there. And so, like, and that goes back to the, like, all or nothing, where someone could shove me and then maybe it would be fine, or I can jump off a tiny cliff and, like, that's okay, but yeah.
hmm.
But yeah, that's exactly where I'm stuck, because it feels like actually I just need to do it. I don't know if there's, like, any more that I need to explore.
I'm curious, if you've never done it before, how do you know it will be fun or good?
Everyone else seems to get a lot out of it. And, like, everyone else is fine when they do it.
What do you think about that?
I mean, that just feels like it's objectively true. Like, being able to show emotions to other people is kind of important if I want to be able to connect. Without it, there's always going to be some kind of barrier there.
How's that objective?
Everyone seems to say so. Is it different for you?
Because I'm thinking if everyone enjoys ice cream and I don't, I wouldn't think there's something wrong with me at this age. Like with my current understanding.
But then with emotions like sadness, like my understanding is that the point of it from an evolutionary standpoint would be to signal to others that like I need help. We're kind of wired to pick up on that and then feel connected as a result. I don't know if that's true, but
Yeah. So it feels to me like uh like obviously there were bad things that prevent you from feeling these feelings that you want to. But on the other side of the coin, there's not like like what you get out of it if you are able to do it is fake.
yeah, I don't know what it
Not
would
really.
actually feel like. I imagine it's similar. I feel connected to people when they show emotions, and that feels really good.
I'm gonna pause. Uh, how's everybody feeling?
Um, I can share, but I'm not sure if I should share. But I will do it anyway, and then I'll hope that you will just tell me how it affects you if it's bad. I am a little annoyed that Tom is not showing more emotions. um, but I also totally understand that the situation and how it's for him. So no pressure.
I think I'm confused because I have data that says that um hmm, that like connecting with other people through sharing feeling is not uh what is it? Oh, how do I construct this sentence? If the goal is to connect with other people, I don't think that you haven't done it, if that makes sense. But that's from my point of view. I don't know when yeah, if that, yeah, when you connect with people, if that feels insufficient for you. And so then maybe if you being able to share might make that better.
Yeah, I feel like I'm missing out on something, and also like a big part of me does want to share. It's just the shame that's blocking it. Yeah. And my answer is I feel a bit hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing.
Jake seems hopeful about that answer.
Yeah, I think it's part of the pattern. So like you have these two parts who are constantly in conflict, and then you have this like other part who like sees this conflict, and it's like this will never get better.
Yeah, that's exactly how it feels.
So I should share, but we can't share because like we have to be considerate of other people. But like no no no, but I want to share. You know you can't do that. And then like those two just keep battling, and then you're just like I'm tired of this, dude. Let me
Yeah.
out.
And they're equally. Well, actually, are they equally strong? The one that wants to share never wins.
Exactly. Yes. This is why the problem keeps persisting. So I'll label one part the um I don't know if it's the real you, but it feels more close to your like true voice, like the things you genuinely want. But if the things you genuinely want never win, yeah, you're going to be hopeless because like you're just not allowed to exist in your own life.
I'm thinking, well, then I will never get to see needy Tom. It's very sad.
Hmm. That made me feel a lot. I don't know why. I'm like, that's a good sentence. Cool. Any I guess we'll just pivot to checkouts. Yeah, how's everybody feeling? Or
We just.
anyone yeah, that's what I'm like. Any other thoughts about how the session went, I guess?
I worry that we wasted time.
Hmm.
Also, but just sharing, we don't have to. Um,
I know. I know. Sorry.
I feel like my brain is gonna work overtime to poke Tom, the needy Tom part, more often. Because I really want to see, want to play with him.
That's not nefarious.
I don't
Anything
think.
else from you?
Pam, you go first.
Um, I guess it's not really a takeout, but it's like a response because I feel the need to share that I felt sad because I can be observing wrong, but I observed Tom 2 seconds ago smiling a lot, and I'm not sure what he was feeling, but I sensed that he was feeling a lot, and suppressed it, and that made me sad to see. And that's why I feel sad that, like, I feel we could extend it an hour and a half more. um, yeah. Um, so that's where I am at, and I would say it's definitely not a waste of time, and I appreciate you, Tom, for sharing what you shared, and I noticed that you tried to share a little more emotions, so that's appreciated.
Yeah. I second that. It didn't feel like a waste of time. If anything, I didn't realize that we're checking out now until you said you want to check out. And then I was wondering, are you missing another 30 minutes like last time? But no.
Maybe.
So I'm also curious to hear where Tom is at, because I observed his emotion and I think he was like, yes, time went up, I am not going there.
I'm exhausted.
You're exhausted. Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
I just like how bright Pam is. Like her room just becomes like
Yes.
heaven, and then it goes to the darkness.
I can choose side, that's why. No. Yeah.
Jack, did you check out?
No. How did I check out? Or do I? What am I gonna say? How do I feel? Yeah, I'll resonate with the sadness. I think it feels really sad when a person sacrifices themselves to protect themselves. And yeah, I feel sad about that. I also feel I don't think it was a waste of time. Like at least based on like Pam and Anne feel closer to Tom, so there's more connection there. So I don't think that's a waste of time. I don't know if Tom wants to debate that, but I don't think it's a waste of time. Um, yeah, I think there's just a lot of sadness. Like yeah, I have like a lot of things written down, but like the part of you in control, you don't want it to be in control, and I think that's a really hard problem to have. Like, your consent doesn't matter in your own system. Yeah. Overall, I feel good about the session though.
I also want to piggyback off of what Jake said, that I do feel more connected to Tom because you've shared. Even though you might not feel it yourself, I was just find out that I felt it.
Yeah, I don't feel it, but it's nice to hear.
I can imagine if the goal is to like fix this problem, then it felt like, well, I didn't fix it. And so we spent time not fixing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense why it feels like a waste of time. But it's interesting because the thing you actually want, which is to feel connected, that happened more. But because the problem wasn't solved, it's a waste of time. So it's interesting.
It's both things. So actually, I only just remembered it. It's I want to feel connected, but it's also the like I want to be seen part, which didn't really happen, or like it did, but in a way that I know I can do. But like the needy part actually wants space, but I don't know how to let it.
Yes. This is the problem.
How about asking for an extension of the time?
You mean like now?
Just 5 minutes.
Sure, but I really need the bathroom first.
That's fair.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, I'll be back in 5.
Uh, ooh.
Do you want to say
Just
something, Jay?
become the ocean.
Yeah, I'm like, should I teach something here? Because I was also like, my breakfast is done. I don't know if I should get that. But then now it's just two people, and I don't know if you two can like banter. So I'm like, should I just teach something
No,
here?
we
I don't know.
can
No, we can.
go
It's
do your
fine.
thing. Yeah, we're
You can get
Alright.
your
capable adults.
breakfast if you'd like. Also, we'll
Okay.
just have a break and then we can cut this piece out.
Okay. Cool.
So a
Well,
bathroom break for people watching as well, if they'd like to.
Ah,
BRB.
Yes.
pee time. Oh, I like that. Instead of break time, pee time.
It can also be pie time
Because you can eat pie.
because, yeah, exactly. So eating or like going to the bathroom.
Mm.
I, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm guessing the sun on your end is really out, and then there's clouds just randomly pass
Yes.
by, right?
True. I really considered like pulling down the curtain, but then it will just get too dark. So I think it's just
Yeah.
overcompensating for like, yeah.
Mhm.
I guess I could use the time to set up. Like I've got a webcam, but I didn't have time to set it up. So I'll try it for next time.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the window over there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it just
Um,
a lot of lightning at your place, or like you're indoors, right?
I am.
So you have
There's
a
like
lamp, or
6 lights in total.
uh,
Mm.
yeah, a great spot with light.
Yeah. Can't wait till I move so I can set it up, have a ring light.
Hmm? You're going to move soon?
Mm. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you like to like decor your place?
I don't know how.
Do you like it but don't know how?
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a possibility. I've moved a lot, but always in a furnished place.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you're just
Yeah.
used to always having like you wouldn't have the
Yeah.
need to put it together
Yeah.
yourself. Be like, oh, I want this here. It's just like, oh, it's functional. It's here.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah.
Yeah, just in the last year or so, because I have a husband now, so that thought is now coming up that we might have to decorate ourselves. So then I have to actually think about if I have a blank room, where do I put stuff? What kind of stuff?
Hmm. So it's totally from scratch. Like I have a empty room, four walls and a floor, and then what? I see. Welcome
Okay.
back.
Yup.
So I guess I'll ask, can we do 5 more minutes?
Hmm?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
uh, but I don't know what. I said the needy part wants space, but I don't know what that actually means.
Can you ask it?
It's like I want it to be okay to want something, but I don't even know what I want. mm. Okay, I know. I really want to know at which point in the conversation did you actually feel most connected?
When you started sharing stories.
Same.
It's hard for me to describe because it's more like um when you're in situations that I relate to, like in the session. So, for example, when we went around in loops, and I resonated with that. So it's like, yeah, I resonate going around in loops and how that experiences. So that's where I felt a lot of connection, because yeah, it was like the experience of where to go from here, and like the emotions spiraling out in the situation. I would say that's where I resonated, or like felt most connected. Uh, and when you told about your experiences, like in general, where you described the situation and just talked about it in the situation.
When I shared the stories, I actually felt quite a lot of things, especially the one when I was sick. Were you able to see that?
What do you mean by see?
I'm wondering to what extent is there a disconnect between, like, I don't let myself feel things in the first place, or, like, I feel something, but then it just stays hidden.
I have to recall, uh, like when I paid attention to your facial expression, it felt like the emotions came and go and went, and they were very like timid. Like they were
Mm-hmm.
like, mm, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I definitely agree with the come and go part, but it was like a wild spike on the inside.
Mm.
At that moment, I wasn't trying to read you. I was more feeling what you were talking about. So I wasn't paying attention too much to like your facial
Yeah.
expressions.
Mm. I can imagine that because like you didn't make facial expressions. You're very still, but like behind your eyes, things were moving. But because it were only through your eyes, I could see just very muted.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, I couldn't describe it better. Like I experienced the same. Like I tried to, or like the story evoked a lot of emotions, so I was feeling the emotions, and when I looked at you, you seemed kind of like very still in place, but it was possible to see that there was something going on behind. Like your eyes became like distant, but it's really hard to see in a picture on the screen that's not that big.
Mm-hmm.
So it was possible to see that something went on, but was hard to notice or know what it was and in what extent it was. And it was more like, for me, logical reasoning from knowing you than from what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Okay, that's all I've got. I don't know what else to ask.
I'm curious what answers, if they did anything for you or affected you. Yeah.
They're useful data. I feel disappointed because I feel so much more and it's just not coming across.
So as in you want to portray facially
Mm-hmm.
the same amount.
Yeah. And I always assumed that I did until like a few weeks ago someone pointed this out to me and I realized there seems to be a pretty big disconnect between what I think I'm like expressing and what's actually coming across.
Okay. That makes sense. Although from my end, because of how non-expressive you usually are, if you do feel feelings, it's still, I can still see it. It's just, it's
Mm-hmm.
your scale. It's not other people's
Yeah.
scales.
Hmm.
Like with the stories, it was like almost crying level feelings. But it sounds like it just looked fine.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I compared you to other people, maybe. But yeah. Hmm. So you're not happy with the realization that how you express facially does not match how you feel internally,
Yep, not at
apparently.
all. Because that makes the problem even worse. Because there's one layer which is like, I want to feel, and then there's another layer of like, I need to also learn to communicate that or like show that.
To be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I hmm. You telling the story communicates it. So I don't. I'm. I'm not sure why there's like this need for like you to be more animated. Like you might not just be an animated person. Like that's perfectly fine. But like you telling the story, I felt sad.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, yeah, I'm like on the verge of crying, like that's sad. So there is like a you've given data, data is received.
Something about like the smiling and my face is really tense. Like, I might think I'm making a sad face and instead I'm smiling. It doesn't feel good.
It sounds to me that for you, in order to be seen, you have to be animated. So that's on you again.
Not necessarily, but whatever I'm doing feels like restrained or like there's something stuck.
I wonder if it's
Because
just sadness. Go for it, Anne.
you said that you didn't know that that's a problem though before somebody pointed it out. So you were happy before with how you were expressing yourself?
I had less awareness, but it's still. It doesn't feel free. And it didn't feel free before either.
Yeah. I'm unclear about if it is like once you're aware of this when somebody pointed it out, that it seems like maybe that's the reason, or it's separate. Like Jake said, it might just be you're not animated, but it's not a problem.
I think it would feel fine if I didn't also feel like I'm holding back. Or. That's not quite the right words. It's like if you're sore and you try to exercise, it doesn't feel right, or like it's awkward and uncomfortable and doesn't feel good. And it's very different from like a good day when it just feels good to move. I'm also noticing time and we have like 2 minutes.
I'm in investigative mode. I'm thinking like, where do you have pictures of you when you were little or videos where you animated back then?
Good
Or
question. I do have videos and I can have a look.
I'll pause here. Uh, if you guys want to continue this next time, you can. If you don't, that's cool too. Um, yeah. Yeah, I'm curious if it's like just sadness because they're like when you pointed it out, I started like looking more and like saw you were like, and that's like I kind of disagree. So you're like, and to me, like there's emotion there that's like really clear. And like when you're happy smiling, that's much different than when you're like anxious smiling, which that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also think it's like kind of hard to portray anxiety or like fear. Like it tends to be just stillness. Like you're just kind of like, yeah, because you're just
Yeah.
like trepidatious. Which like that's just like harder to convey with your face.
Mm-hmm.
For me, if I'm like really anxious, like my face doesn't say that. Well, my eyes move back and forth a lot, but it's more like my voice will start to tremble and like I will keep talking and talking and like it isn't facial necessarily. It's like other signs.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Awesome. Any other thoughts or anything
Did we
before
check
we?
chat? No questions or.
I have not.
You don't think there's any questions?
Cool.
I mean, I have a couple things like we can like teach a bit if you want me to.
Go for it.
Depends. My dad might yell for me to get breakfast because it isn't done yet. Um. Where first? Turning my air conditioner on. Okay. First, I could talk about small thing. So emotions are always valid. Uh, why you're feeling them, that may not be valid, but you are feeling your emotions. That cannot be debated. So like one example is like Anne could feel concern for Tom. That is 100% valid. Tom may not agree with the reasoning behind the concern, but she is feeling concern. That cannot be debated. So, small thing about emotions, they are always valid. Why they're spawning, that's a different thing, and that can be explored more. That's one thing. Any of you have any thoughts about that?
I would say I agree, though it's not necessarily the same as knowing and experiencing.
Yeah.
But I agree.
Cool. Second thing is a disclaimer on trauma versus traumatic. Traumatic is a thing that has, so this is my definition, this is not formal definition. Traumatic is something that could develop trauma. So if like my mom would be a good example, starves me, like that is traumatic. Whether or not I develop trauma about it, that's a separate thing. So something being traumatic usually evokes a lot of like compassion, empathy, and stuff like that. Whether or not you have developed a trauma, that depends on either how much you think about that event, how much what else? How much you think about it, how much that event has affected you. So if there's like a clear before and after, then like you learned something there, and it could be dubbed as trauma. And then there's like another tier to this, which trauma does not mean like PTSD or like CPTSD. Yeah, because like those diseases have like certain criteria. So if I say, yeah, you have trauma, I'm not saying you have PTSD. It's just you learned something that is still impacting you in a negative way, essentially. So that's the second thing. Any thoughts from anyone about any of that?
Makes sense.
I had a third one, but I'm trying to find it.
We got
Oh yeah, shame
questions.
versus anxiety.
Oh,
What'd you say?
we have questions from Raymond, by the way. After.
Cool. You want me to do shame versus anxiety, or you want?
You go first.
Cool. So anxiety, if you're actually anxious, or if it's true anxiety, it's very generalized, as like the anxiety disorder says, generalized anxiety disorder. So you're afraid of kind of everything. So what if my like lamp breaks? What if like a person like walks up to me and like slaps me? What if like the airplane that I'm going on like is late? Like it's everything. If it's very person dependent, social anxiety, I I personally believe that is mostly baked in shame, inadequacy, worthlessness, stuff like that. So you're afraid because you have the shame, anxiety, worthlessness, or shame, inadequacy, worthlessness. You're not generally afraid of stuff. You're afraid because of this stuff, which is a different problem.
I did not understand that.
Cool. Uh, yeah. Which part did you not understand? Any of it?
Yeah, like I understood that there's a difference between it being in general and something related to relationship.
Yeah. The more your anxiety spawns when you're around people and their judgments, you probably have a shame problem. You don't have an anxiety problem.
Okay.
You're worried because of how ashamed you are. It's like there's hella shame with like a cap of anxiety. But like generalized anxiety is like you're just anxious. It's all anxiety. This tends to confuse people, but I think separating emotions is a very valuable thing to do. It's like even shame versus inadequacy. These are two different emotions.
Hmm.
Yeah. If you aren't feeling that anxious when you're alone, you probably have a shame problem. Shame, inadequacy, worthlessness, something like that. Cool. This could be a whole topic, but that is like another small thing. And you seem very confused.
No, I'm not confused. I'm concerned because my brain was starting to, even when you started talking about trauma and not trauma, um, it's very therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And usually there's a disclaimer. This is coachingly speaking, not therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said like I'm not diagnosing anything. Like just diagnose. Yeah, we haven't talked about therapy versus coaching, but I'm not diagnosing or treating anything. Therefore, legally, this isn't therapy. Everything past diagnosis and treatment. So if it isn't acuity, so this is suicidal ideation, murderous intent, drug use, acute problems that need help now, or if it isn't diagnosis or treatment, which is, hey, you have generalized anxiety disorder. Let's come up with a treatment plan about your anxiety and let's work on your anxiety. If your therapist isn't doing those two things, technically, they're coaching. Technically. So, me saying trauma, that is, I use it for the purpose of validation. I don't really care at all about medical diagnosis. So, that's my take on it that I've gotten verified through mental health consultants. Yeah,
Explains
it's
the
definitely murky.
confidence.
Like, yeah, my understanding is based on like legal stuff. So legally, if I'm not diagnosing or treating, I'm doing coaching. So like technically, marriage counseling, that's coaching. Technically. If there's no treatment happening, you're coaching. It's weird. The law is weird. But yeah, that's all that stuff. Any questions or thoughts about any of that stuff? Cool. Someone said Raymond had questions.
Yes. How do you know someone genuinely cares about your feelings? Probably a question for Tom.
Uh, they ask for more, maybe? And sometimes I would trust that, sometimes I wouldn't. But I don't think I have a good answer to this. Do any of you have a take?
What was the question again?
How do you know someone genuinely cares about your feelings?
I feel safe.
Would you ever feel like they care about your feelings and not feel safe at the same time?
Um, in that case, I would feel like they care about most of my feelings. For me. Another easy one is like I can just feel their concern.
My first thought was, I don't care if people are genuine. And then my second thought to explain my first thought is, I guess I don't. My default is I don't think people genuinely care, and I'm okay with it. Pam, do you want to answer that?
I would say to me it depends on the situation. Like what I see as caring in a certain situation. So if I feel like yeah, it's hard for me because it really depends on the situation. So if like so I came to the conclusion that for me care is helping me when I need help. And because that is how I feel cared for, it depends on what I need help with. Um, and then I also resonated with I don't know if people care. They would need to tell me or show me, and I would need to believe when they tell and show me. So, yes. Um, yeah, that would be my take on it.
Any more thoughts on that? Okay. There's 4 more questions. Where do I start to begin accepting the parts of me that I reject?
First, you have to acknowledge that you don't accept them. Like that, like accept that you don't accept them. So some type of acknowledgement that this part of me is like really hurting me and I'm rejecting this part. Like that's the first thing. Then eventually like trying to have a dialogue is the best thing. Yeah, acceptance in my opinion, acceptance as a result is not something you strive to have.
Yeah. I was thinking that I don't think I have parts of me that I reject, but I never want to accept it if I'm rejecting it. I want it to go away.
Yeah. And then that is something to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Like why are you trying to exile this part? Those are my thoughts. I don't know if anyone has thoughts on that.
I don't, because this is where I'm stuck.
Yeah, I think it would be a topic in itself. 'Cause I I also struggle with it. Like I agree with having to need to accept that it's like the first step is to like find out what I'm rejecting with myself and accept that I'm rejecting it. But just doing that is still a struggle. Like I know what to do, but to do it is another struggle.
Yeah. And you can look at that too if you want. Like why is it so hard for me to even consider this part?
Hmm.
Another question is like why does that part disgust me so much? Why am I so judgmental? Who does it remind me of? Is an interesting question.
Hmm.
What time does it remind me of? Part stuff is interesting.
I also
So the
remember Anne asking the question like, where did I learn this from? I think that's a really great question in general. So, like, where did I learn to reject this? Is for me a helpful
Mm.
exploration question.
yeah. So I guess in like the goal is not to accept the part you reject, it's to be curious about it.
Hmm.
In my opinion, I've definitely heard people who are like, yeah, you just got to accept it. But for me, that isn't actionable, so I just don't accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
just hearing
accept.
that from me, like, no, that's not work for me.
It's like
Yeah.
just think positive. Doesn't
Hmm.
work.
Toxic positivity.
No
Yeah.
is my response.
Yeah, exactly. But if it works for people, sure, but I know it would not work for me.
Sure. So CBT works for people too. I'm not getting into my opinions about that.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
What was the next question?
Yeah. Jake, you said 2 years not enough for Tom to fix getting in touch with his feelings. How long does it usually take?
Usually, uh, I've heard another coach say this number. It takes about half the time.
Great.
So how long it took to develop this? It takes about half the time. That's the number I heard him use. Um, but I think once you discover, yeah, the time frame changes. It really changes depending on what you learned and how rigid those things are.
And how old you are?
Yeah,
Because if I
there's like
hear that and I'm
frontal lobe stuff
70,
too. Yeah. There was another thing. Yeah, with stuff like this, I like the question. Um, yeah, this is trademarked. Don't steal it. I give you permission to use it though. Um, how do you think you heal from this point? And that will, depending on how it feels, like you just follow your intuition. If you're looking for like a full heal, if you're looking to function, that's a whole different thing. Yeah, as far as timeline, it really depends on the person, the problems they have, how rigid those problems are, um, how much they're allowed to speak, like how silenced they are, how much power they have, how much voice they have, stuff like that. If you're like completely shut down, though, it takes time.
so basically too many variables to be a science.
Yeah, it just depends on the variables that are present and how rigid those variables are. Also, how connected you are with people. Because there's like stuff about like uh it might be borderline personality disorder. I'm not sure. It's one of the ones that it's either bipolar or borderline, I don't know. But one of them has like studies that say like after 2 years if you're with like really securely attached people, it will kind of like the symptoms will like really start dissipating a lot. So connection and environment are also a big factor.
That's what we do.
EP.
Join our groups.
Yes.
Next question or any last
Sure,
thoughts?
go for it.
What do you do if if you have parents that don't care about your feelings? $1 million question.
Like when you're with your parents as a kid, or like with your parents as an adult, or how it affects you.
Raymond, please clarify. Typing.
JB.
I'm gonna get my breakfast. I'll be back.
Oh, okay. So he
Is
said
the question
any...
ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just answer.
Any, but I think being a child where you can't get away from them as easily as a more potent question. Or you're fucked. CPS. I don't know.
Yeah. When you're that young, you have no agency and power. So you are just kind of fucked. Especially if you don't have friends who have like incredibly caring parents that they would like be willing to like take you in and stuff like that. Um, yeah, situations like that are very hard, and I don't think there's a way out that is very easy. Maybe ask your like aunts and uncles and stuff, or like, hey, can I stay with you some more? Child Protective Services is up there too.
In the US.
All right, I will be back.
Kind of depressing, but a very valid answer. Do you have thoughts?
I was thinking for me, journaling helped a lot. Being able to learn to handle emotions myself. Like, I'm not saying it's healthy, but it works.
I was thinking actually, not that it's not healthy, but it's probably dangerous in some households.
True. So, writing journals and burn the paper.
Sometimes schools might be able to provide at least some amount of resources or support.
Yeah, it's so depressing. The last question is for Tom. How do you feel about exaggerating your feelings?
Good question. I thought about whether I should take like acting classes or something to get more comfortable. Like, if I'm pretending, that would still feel awkward, but less shameful than if they're actually my feelings. So I wondered whether that would help with some of the shame. Maybe. But it's really hard to even consider doing it when I'm actually feeling something real, and then to think that like I deliberately want to exaggerate it where my brain is screaming like don't show it. But maybe in a different context. Yeah, that's all I've got.
Interesting how you answered that with a non-feeling.
Um, I don't even know what a feelings answer could look like with that question. How could I feel about that?
To loop Jake in, the question was for Tom. How do you feel about exaggerating your feelings? And he answered it with maybe going to acting classes will help.
I actually don't know how I could feel about that, even in theory, with feelings.
Neutral is also a possibility.
Hopeful because they're acting classes.
Maybe a little bit.
You want to try and look at the feelings ring?
Okay. Oh, actually, I can't because it might mess up the recording.
Can we
Maybe like
here,
potentially ashamed, but it's not a reaction to hearing the suggestion. But if I were to actually do it, I would feel a lot of shame. Or like cringe.
For situations like this, or like people with like problems like Tom's, I think there are a lot of ways to work on it, but one way is just trying to describe what you're feeling and just seeing what words resonate, what words don't. And it's okay to be vague. So, I'm afraid, I'm angry, frustrated is a common one, uncomfortable is a common one. But just give the answer and then try to like explore it a bit more. Because sometimes they will feel vague. Like I often say weird if I really don't know what I'm feeling. I'm like, I don't know, it's weird. And you'll know when it hits. Like it, you will just feel like more validated when a person will say that word. Yeah, there's neuroscience into why it's useful. Like it activates your corpus callosum and yada yada. But yeah, overall, just try to like describe your emotions. Try to describe your sensations, what you're feeling, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I want to wrap up now because I'm tired.
Okay.
Unless, like, if you want to keep talking, go for it. We're still streaming, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's the stream.
Thank you for watching.
See you next week.
Peace.
Thank you for watching. Again, if you'd like to join a support group similar to this, you can join us through our website, questoflife.org. And if you'd like to support us with our mission, please consider donating and or volunteering. You can also do that via our website so that we can run more free groups for more people. Thanks.